Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday. It's September 25th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and it was mostly downhill today. We had early on we had a little two-tier channel working down. We had a break, a bit moved to a new low, and then we bounced, but we turned back down and hit it lower again. And so once you got this swing here, you could get this trend line up here like so, and then move that in. You find the other end down here. As you can see, the midline was right in there like so, and we finally got a break of that right before the close. So for the most part, we were in this downtrend for the entire day. We even closed inside this downtrend, down this two-tiered down channel rather. But anyway, let's talk about the trades. When I came in, we were working up, and first trade I saw was we were making this high around the 7 o'clock hour. We were pushing up in here, and you got a big bear. Look how far away and how long we've been away from the EMA, and you get a lower high here. We actually had what looks like a close outside. It's not real convincing, but it's there. But then we had this big overshoot, and a lot of times an overshoot will lead to a reversal anyway. But this actually went higher and turned and went out the other side, and then came back down again. So I like going short right below that, just simply because we're so far away from the EMA. We do have what looks like a close. We've had a new high. We're making a lower high, and I just had a question this morning about somebody. They had a trend working up, and they had a close outside, and they were trying to move to a new high and didn't make it, and they went short. But it was probably more like, I'm trying to see the setup. I don't remember. It was actually on yesterday's chart. I don't remember where it was. But he's probably going to say, well, this is similar to what I was talking about, although it's not really, because he was looking to get long. I believe he was looking to get long. I'm trying to remember. But just when you're this far away from the EMA, eventually prices are going to come back to it strongly, just like they did here. So with that lower high and the fact that prices closed on such a, without much stem and all, that's a very bearish bar. I'm going to take that one every time, pretty much. And you might even, you could almost call this one green, to be honest. But I hate doing that because that's where more people lose trying to pick tops and bottoms than anything. And actually what that trader did was he did go short on something, and then it shot up and made a new high before it turned down again. So he was trying to he was really trying to pick a top, and that's why I'm hesitant to mark these. You need to be really experienced at price action to understand. You need to recognize how far his was right into the EMA, though. It was like maybe here coming down, and you got a break, and it was turning down, and it bounced right into the EMA and then turned and went the other way. Really what it was a short trap. It might have been, it looks similar to this maybe. He was trying to get short here, and you get a move down and it bounces on him. So but it was a big move up like that. When you get that big a move up and that strong, you need to make sure this move plays out before you think about getting short. When you start just trying to pick tops and bottoms, but you don't want to go short right back into that EMA like that for sure, unless it's the first time prices have been above that EMA and everything else lines up, which nothing else lines up right there. We're still looking for longs at this point. So I don't think I think it was yesterday's chart, but it looked very much like this right here, and he tried to get short. So, but hopefully you can see the difference in what that little move looks like and what this move looks like, and how far we are away from that EMA versus we're right into the EMA. So I did want to explain that, but I like that one for sure. And if you want to be aggressive, you probably want to take that trade, because if you catch that, that's the high of the day, and you can ride that all the way down. Your stop probably never would have been, never taken any heat, and you could have ridden that all the way down. Same thing with that lower high as well. We actually get a failed second entry long here, so another chance to get short. And at that point, it was a little unclear if maybe this was a spiking channel, but you want to go ahead and copy that line and drag it up to the high there. And when we turn down right at it on a second entry short, notice that low, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. That's the second entry short. It's a double top. It's right where you would expect in the trend line to be. It's a bearish bar. Everything you want's right there. And that's another great move that probably would have helped a runner as well. And we actually made a little bit of a double test right here, but that bar is too bullish, your signal bar. Let me make this just a tad bigger. It's a little bit hard to see. That bar is too bullish. It's a first entry short, even though it is a double test. And it would have worked, but you don't know that ahead of time. There's not a lot of room between here and there. There's probably enough. If that would have been a bearish bar, I'd have taken that. But then we come back and you get a second entry short here, but notice you got a not a very good bar, and then it broke higher and turned and went out the other side. I like going short there. Now when that closed as a doji, I wouldn't go short below that. But if it broke higher on your chart and turned and went out the other side, I wouldn't have a problem with you getting short right there, because it's making a lower high, and it's already been a second entry short. Now you've had one more little turn up, so it traps some people, and will probably push on through. And that's what they do. That's how they, when they can't get prices to go through these lows here like this, what they'll do is they'll create a trap, and that trap, the pressure of that trap will push prices on through. So you'll see that quite often, because they can't get prices through there. There's so much buying pressure right there that they'll trap it, and then those people all that got long will have to exit, and it makes it shoot down real hard real fast as it hits their stops, and as that they all panic and start running for the door, and then it runs down real fast. So there is a double test of the low here, and you do have a break and a new low, but we're really going so much sideways here. If you'd have taken that one, I believe it would have worked. So you could argue for that one maybe, but the fact that we're still all below the EMA, the fact that we only had one leg down and we're trying to make another one, you had to be a little careful with that one. We could probably go ahead and mark it at least green, though. It is a double test. It is a nice bullish bar. You probably wouldn't have had the two-tiered channel with the midline in there yet. So it's one to consider. And I think it would have gotten just enough to get out. At least on my chart, it got exactly just enough to get out with a perfect scalp. And that's why we don't go for 4 ticks, because if you'd gone for any more there, you got burned. And then I like taking that short, as we already talked about. Then we bounce. And even though this is only a first entry short, that's still a nice reversal. Look how strong that is. It runs up. It goes right through the EMA. No resistance. Goes right through the midline, which you probably wouldn't have had that midline yet. Pulls back. Tests the EMA. Gives you a bounce. Nice bullish bar. I like going long right there. And at the very minimum, I'm just looking for another leg up. There's your first leg, and I'm going to look for a second leg. Of course, we don't get that, but that's because the trend line's up there. And once you made these highs here, I would draw my trend line across that. And we got a little double test here. We made that high. You get a close outside. You test it once, you test it twice, and that bar is not bearish enough, but it pushes down, and it doesn't break higher, but it gives you a higher low right there. And that's a relatively small bar, relatively bearish. It didn't close on its very low. It's only 1 tick off. So you might go short right there. Honestly, I don't like that. It's too congestive. It's too sideways. It's not that far away from the EMA. But it is notice we made a new low there, first entry, second entry. So it is a form of a second entry. And it does look like there's a bigger channel here. And if it turns out that way, we're going to head lower. You're better off to wait on your a failed second entry first, and notice you made a double top there, but that's a high first entry, and you're moving down second entry. So there's your first second entry, and then if you count this is a double top, there's another one here, but we bounced there a couple times and we weren't going anywhere, and then you made all those matching bars. I'm not going to risk going short below that. So you just can't get in here. So if you didn't get in here, you're not going to get any of this move down. And then of course it bounces. Now you do have a close outside the new low, or a decent way away from the EMA. But that's not a real bullish bar. It's got 2 or 3 ticks right there of stem. So I'm not crazy about it. Then you're got what I would call a lower high here, but it's got too many sideways bars, too much dojis. I don't think it's worth risking. But notice you get a close outside, move to a new high, and a big, huge bearish bar. I like going short right there. We didn't quite make the other side there, so I thought maybe we'd move on down and go down. But really, and plus we pushed through that midline, which you should have had that midline now. And generally, you're going to come back and test it. So you figure here we're at least coming back to test this, and you know your hope is you're going all the way down to here. Doesn't turn out to be the case. We bounce this just to pull back to test that midline that we pushed through, and then it goes back up to the upper side and turns down again. Of course, this is after 3 o'clock. I didn't mark any of this, but that would have been a great short right there. Notice that high, then the lower high, and notice we got the break. You really got a break there already, but you get another one, and you get 2 legs up and turn down, and it's right off that trend line. So this is really your signal bar up here, and so you got too many stacking up. But when it breaks up, breaks higher there, and it probably trap people again, and then turns down and makes that bearish bar, I'd go short there. Not that late in the day, but if that was earlier in the day, I would. So pretty good trading day. This was relatively straightforward today. Yeah, it was a little iffy if we were going to make a range or continue lower at this point right in here. But once we started lower here, it was pretty obvious. Of course, there weren't a lot of trades the rest of the day. And another thing about this one, it pushes back through this support area and comes back and tests it before it goes higher. So that was another reason I like that. I can't remember if I talked about that or not. Sometimes I forget to talk about the multiple reasons. But anyway, I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's a little late this evening. I'm getting this done, so I'm ready to get out of here. I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.